Mr. Bowman here. Today's learning objective is in green and we're learning to define angles. So we'll start off our topic on geometry is to going over what exactly is an angle. So I'm just drawing one here for us. And I'll put in a little angle symbol in the morning. So what we see here, it comprises of 4 parts. So it's got 2 intersecting lines. It's got the point of intersection down the bottom. That's the big dot there. And it's got our little angle symbol sitting in the middle there. So all of these 4 things together form kind of the geometry of angles that we know. And the way we think of angles, so what exactly is an angle? It is the space between 2 intersecting lines. So we had our 2 intersecting lines, and that space that kind of sits in between it there, that there relates to the angle. The bigger the angle, the more space that there is between those. And another really important fact about angles is an angle, it's between 0 degrees, that means there's no angle at all, and 360 degrees. That means it's gone a full 360 degrees, it's gone all the way around the circle. And what I thought would be interesting for this video is that this stuff's fairly basic in understanding. You may already know it already, but where exactly did this 360 degree number come from? Like, who made it up? Like, is it a thing? Where did it come from? And that's where we're going to go into a bit of maths history to understand this. So the 360 degree number, ultimately it came from a olden day calendar. And these old calendars, they were based on 360 days in a year. They didn't quite get it right, so we know that it's actually 365.25 days, but they were fairly close given it was over 6,000 years ago. So we'll get rid of that last stuff. And why that number 360 is really important is the civilization that I'm talking about, don't forget they're 6,000 years old, they actually loved the number 60. And if you think 60 times 6, that there gets us to 360 degrees. And that's that number we're talking about in the calendar year, or the number of degrees they have. And the reason they loved 60 was it was really easily divisible. So if you're thinking maybe you're a businessman or you're trading things with people, number 60, you can divide it by 2 because that gets you to 30. You can divide it by 3, gets you to 20. Divide by 4 to 15. Divided by 5, that will get you to 10. Divided by 6. Oh, sorry, 5 gets you to 12. 6 gets you to 10. But hopefully you can see what I mean. It's really easily divisible. They loved that number and it came up all over the place. And the civilization that loved these numbers, they were actually an ancient 6,000 years ago. And I've got a bit of a map where they're located, 6,000 years. But it was roughly where Syria and Iraq are today. So thanks to these guys, 6,000 years ago, we know that a full circle, so if you think of our starting point, so there's one line of intersection and there's our point of intersection. As the line goes around, so it's drifting around, as it drifts around even more. So a full circle, or 1 year, maybe up the top there was the sun. That full revolution takes 360 degrees, and that's where that number comes from today. So guys, hopefully you have a good understanding of what an angle is. It's the space between 2 intersecting lines, and hopefully you understand it is between 0 and 360 degrees. And finally, hopefully you understand where that 360 degrees came from. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Now let's get into the next stuff.